An implication of digital disruption is that consumers will increasingly move from vehicle-based thinking to mobility-based thinking. Mobility as a service enables new models that are going to break the one-to-one bond between consumers and their vehicles. As a result, mobility as a service will influence vehicles to migrate from individual ownership to increasingly fleet ownership. Since the early 1900s, at the outset of the automotive industry, there's been a one-to-one bond between a person and an automobile. Mobility as a service really offers a change in that. So for example, if you're going to take a weekend away without the kids, perhaps you want a sports car. If you want to take a weekend away with the kids, that might be a sport utility vehicle. Or if you're going to a garden center to load up on gardening supplies, perhaps a pickup truck would be the best. So the first implication of breaking that person-car bond begins with the automotive value chain. When you think about a person getting a vehicle, they go to a dealership, purchase a vehicle, and then during the life of that vehicle, that person, the consumer, is making choices around service and repair. In a mobility as a service world, the most important decision the consumer will make is who is the mobility as a service provider. In conjunction with that, the decision on the vehicle itself then becomes a fleet decision. The mobility as a service provider then will either have their own fleet or will contract a fleet. And that fleet then will decide what vehicles to get. And it might be based on brand, but probably more on the utility of the vehicle, the asset value of the vehicle, and increasingly consumer satisfaction in the mobility as a service of that vehicle. Mobility as a service will happen first in large cities. Part of the vision of mobility as a service is to provide seamless transportation between a number of different transportation modes. So reserving the type of transportation, paying for it, all handled through a mobility as a service application on a smartphone. Mobility as a service will happen slower in suburbs. Suburban life today and in the future is still going to be very vehicle-centric, and we see that one-to-one person-vehicle bond remaining strong in suburban and rural locations. Companies such as Whim, Movell, Ubigo, and Chariot rapidly evolving these seamless modes of urban transportation. What they all have in common is a change from consumer to fleet thinking.